Good morning, everyone. Let's go ahead and take that deep breath. Sending lots of love and healing out to you all. Okay. Very interesting downloads that came in this morning. So, I do have my 45D60 union read and the twin flame read, but I have another message first. I'm going to show you the pictures, so don't forget to show them to you. So this is the union read for today. 45D60, 45D60. The left is the divine feminine, right's the masculine. The bridge between them is in the middle. Incoming divine feminine, outgoing divine masculine, the underlying energy and the closing energy here. Here is the twin flame read, the SIRIAN STARSEED deck as the main read, and then here's all the clarifiers for the 7-deck read. Okay, so very interesting. So today is the 15th. It's actually tax day, so there may be some tax wounds about money and the tax man coming up today. And also, my nephew's niece was born today. Her name is Ryan Hannah. Very pretty name, very unusual. So the day though today is the 15th, which is the devil, the shadow side, and the day adds up to the Queen of Wands. So the Queen of Wands and devil, that could be a little precarious as far as energy's going, it can go one way or the other. So here's where this starts. Well, first of all, last night when I did my meditation before I went to sleep, I decided to really focus on the root chakra and the safety and security issues because I still have some pain from my my L4-5 and into my sacrum. I still get pain there. So I decided to really focus on the root to see what's coming up, to see what visualizations were coming up, what kind of issues. And boy, did that open a whole can of worms of all of those safety and security wounds. Definitely was getting not only sexual abuse, but sexual mutilation, especially for women, because of the internal aspect of the feminine, abuse. Also was coming up anything to do with war and starvation and any of the pain revolving around those issues. Actually, witch hunts were coming up yesterday as well, but all of that stuff was coming in. A lot of sexual energy was coming in. And actually this morning, let's see what else was coming up here. I was listening to Elise from Elise and Alana Danan. So Elise has her own website, and I went to check out her videos, and I'd watched the one on frill, which is just the name for the energy that you use for healing spiritually. And as soon as they were bringing up Callie in the video, I had opened a book that was on my couch that I wanted to put away, and I just opened it to the first page, and the very first line talked about them being in Los Angeles after they just talked about the angels in Cali, which Los Angeles is angels and Cali. So that was kind of cool. And then I noticed my Edgar Cayce book sitting there because that was still out too, as I'm losing my voice right now, because there's an interesting message around that. It's a very complicated read, this Edgar Cayce book. So some messages came up around that. So I noticed the Edgar Cayce book as soon as I got that other message, because Edgar Cayce has the same initials as me. So I'm ES because that's my married name, but EC are my maiden name initials. So Edgar Cayce. And that was at 9:07 today, this morning. And then I got the text at 9:13 about my nephew's daughter being born. So I was guided to randomly open a book page for both books. And the first book was a book that had been sent to me by a financial advisor called The Psychology of Money. This is the book. Okay. And I opened it randomly to page 142 to 143. And it was titled, from the chapter 13, Room for Error. And the exact paragraph that I opened to was about World War II in 1942. So here we have page 142 in 1942, when the tanks needed on the front lines failed due to mice. Out of 104 tanks, so here's the 1 and 4 again, and less than 20, and there's the 2 coming up, less than 20 of the 104 tanks were operable because mice had gotten in there and eaten away at the insulation covering the electrical systems. So that's not an issue you would foresee. But it's just telling you, nature takes care of you naturally, right? So they were stopped from putting all that tank power up to the front. So there was a reason for that. And also on page 142 at 9:30, a line that said, "No, there's no risk that can wipe you out that is ever worth taking." And they stated that leverage is the devil, as today's the 15 of the devil, taking on debt to make money go further. So leverage is about, so what they're, this is a money book on how to grow, your abundance. But the abundance energy really has to do with, our faith, right? In that 0 point moment and following your guidance instead. So I opened up Edgar Cayce. So it's Edgar Cayce on reincarnation, which is a very, hard read. It's not an easy read, and I've never been a good reader anyway. And also I'm allergic to the print, so any of the old books really bother me because I can't stand touching the print because it makes my eyes burn like crazy. So there's another toxin there, ink. So I opened up the Edgar Cayce book to page 200 to 201, which talked about Origen or Origen, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but a Christian scholar, ascetic, and theologian from Alexandria. So my message after a book, and just reading through Edgar Cayce, for me to get through one page of that book, it's like, it's like me dealing with the computer when there's something wrong with it that I can't figure out why, and there's no logical reason why this shouldn't be working. It's that same kind of frustration that comes up in trying to read a book with all these words that you don't understand because someone's trying to be intelligent, right? So intelligent books, just like legal contracts, are written in very difficult language so that you can't understand, so that only the most educated people would be able to understand what they're actually writing so that things go in their favor, right? So after this book was too hard to read as an illegal document, not meant to be understood so that it can be manipulated by its owner or misinterpreted, and yet tie you into what the writer believes, make you feel stupid or dependent on them to get by. However, simple language, like riddles, as in poetry, allows you and your own personal interpretation without being considered wrong, and open as well to expansion, not just interpretation, but expansion. So what is the point of speaking a language that no one else understands? It gives you an opportunity to shut down your mind and feel instead, to give up, right? When you're frustrated, you give up, you surrender. So then the book, this is the page that I opened to for Edgar Cayce. It was the literal first sentence I read was, "The sleight of hand of the Fifth Council was designed to deceive the eye in exactly this fashion." And this was coming up from the chapter, Why Isn't Reincarnation in the Bible? Chapter 11, X1, or Justice. The unquiet wrath of Theodora came up in the witch hunt in a full cry, and its victim was reincarnation. And they're talking about the Catholic Church, the Greek Church, in all its Platonist and Origenist, secular and unsecular forms. The Emperor Justinian, so here's just from justice. The Emperor Justinian was just a layman, they considered. The churches considered him that, tampering with ecclesiastical law. The findings of the council annihilated Origenism in the Christian church, even if a few stubborn sects like the troubadours in the south of France went underground for a few more centuries, taking that with them. So attack of Origen was the attack on the early church fathers. And all of that information, which wasn't a whole lot of stuff, was all in Latin or Greek, and were never allowed to fall into the hands of the laymen because the church didn't want people to know about this information. Few had the courage to defy their emperor and hide their original versions, so they gave them all over, right? Because they didn't want to get killed. Justinian deletions and alterations, here I notice alterations has alter in it. Justinian deletions and alterations of Gospels, completed in a very short order, as well as as well as any evidence of vandalism. So everything was, gotten rid of. If Pope Virgilius had not felt the Western Church support, he would never have taken on Justinian. Yet he did oppose this council they were talking about. Apparently there were only 6 Western bishops at the council that showed up, which represented the West. In the Vatican versus Theodora and Justinian, Virgilius, and the 4 popes who followed, recognized only 3 chapters of edict regarding the council and speak of Origenism as if they knew nothing of its condemnation, which they did at that time. And this is not even the wording. This is like as simplified as I could make the page that I read. In 1054, which is then 500 years later, Roman and Greek churches excommunicated each other, that Roman Catholics believe only in the Vatican councils and the Greek Orthodox only in the Constantinople approvals. So Rome had to condemn Platonism before the Greeks would condone it, even if they excluded it from their teachings, basically. So in this secret Kabbalah, according to Catholic Encyclopedia, which, interpreted the way they want it to be understood, bishops at the Constantinople had to consider, by order of the emperor, a form of organism, Origenism, however his name is pronounced, and practically nothing in common with actually the man. So here now, what was originated by the man is interpreted something totally different as his name represents, not him. So page 20, it literally says, "For whom is it so easy to understand?" And here's that page 20 is also coming up about the 20 tanks that were able to work, only 20 tanks. For whom is it so easy to understand? In 1400 years since this council, no examination of these issues has come about. The Catholic Church denies saying anything against him. However, excluded from the Church creed is the teaching of the preexistence of the soul, and by implication of reincarnation here. And that ended at 1015. So today the devil has come up. I can't tell you how many times it's come up already. So Plato, let's see. So Origenes actually means born of Horus, which is the Egyptian falcon-headed deity. And then the word metaphor was coming up for me to analyze for you guys, because we talk in metaphors all the time. So so how does this complicated read in books and knowledge and us trying to get out of our brains, right, to use our psychic abilities as opposed to our mental function, how does the metaphor relate to this? So the metaphor is a figure of speech with implied meaning. Like in Shakespeare, all the world's a stage and all men and women are the players with their exits and their entrances. And then we break down metaphor. So meta has lots of meanings, but overall it has to do with the boundaries. the conical columns at the ancient Rome circus, the finish line, the goal posts. Again, pillars are coming up here. The objective, the endpoint, the frontier, the ambition. The base in the baseball, right, is some kind of marker to measure, esteem, to consider, to appreciate, to assess. Also, being mad and drunken comes up here, as well as destination, try, goal, pile, a pile of straw, or a haystack, which came up, which is a perfect representation here, because what do you find in a haystack? You look for that needle. Also, dung comes up. And it was so interesting because then the word with meta, medaldehyde came up. So I looked up that, which is a meta word. And it literally has to do with killing the weak-willed person, the soft-bodied invertebrate. To take the air out of the balloon, to deflate someone, make them feel less. Like it's coming up as all the hides, like formaldehyde. And then aldehyde came up, which alde means get out, scram. And there's someone trying to get the weak links out, right? And this comes from this dehydrated. So dehydrated metal, formaldehyde would be dehydrated form or formal. Taking the water out of things, taking the emotion out of things, taking the life out of you because you can't live without water. So, what came up after that was just more interpretation of four. We have meta and four. And phoria is heterophoria, which is latent strabismus, which has to do with squinting, which occurs only during disassociation of the left and right eyes, whereby fusion of the eyes is absent. And of course, I always look up in Wiktionary because it's got the definitions around the world. So, defect of the vision due to imbalance of the eye muscles or a squint. And then phorocyte, looking up the word for, phorocyte, or the cell for, literally translates as mobile cell. So here's your cell phone that transports buds of doliolids, which are like sea squirts, was an example of the creature. Enclosed in a tunic or mantle, each joint buried in the preceding funnel, or the funnel shape, or like some insect's antenna, they like the collapsing cups, they collapse in on each other. And also pho comes up in four, which of course is rice noodles, but it also means shield, some kind of protection. Set, it also means dismissive contempt. So again, here we have these shields and antennae, things that can collapse back into you, but yet protect you at the same time. The metaphor. The boundaries are goalposts. The measure, consideration, the appreciation, the haystack and disassociation of the right and left eye. The carrying of the weight of the world. It literally means to bear, because then we have the word for us. Phorous means to bear, to carry, the conveyor, the person who carries the weight of the world. To bear or convey or carry the weight of the world, have consideration, appreciation, the haystack for you to find that needle, a blurring of the vision, to lose the 3D sight, to gain insight, holding space for others to see. The mobile cell, the sea squirt, the collapsing cups, the antennae, the shield, the mutable signs, the go-between, the bringing of the message back and forth, the metaphor. Why would you use the word for, F-O-U-R, when we can simplify it to the number 4? And that's so much easier to read. Metaphor, the 4 is the emperor. We met an emperor. We just talked about an emperor, Justinia, of justice, expanding and contracting, who could be dismissive and yet appreciative and considerate all at the same time. You can't find the eye of the needle unless the haystack is presented and held at 10:56, which is the turn for the better of the Wheel of Fortune, and the 56 of being in your knowing, and yet keeping it to yourself. And it's 11:38 on the clock right now, which is justice, but also the Queen of Cups, who is loving, kind, and intuitive. So I opened the Psychology of Money book again, just real quickly to get one last message to wrap this up. And it came up to chapter 15, the devil again, and page 159, which has another 15 in it, and the 59, which is the 11th hour, but also the 5 of swords, the war within and the war without. And it literally said that nothing's free. In chapter 15, nothing's free, but consider the source. Okay, so it's the devil's telling you nothing's free. So make sure to consider your source. So this is a great wrap up after having talked about, legal documents and books you can't understand, and then metaphor. If it doesn't feel good, ask yourself why. And don't do that anymore. If you change the channel to 0 point, there is free range there. Remember, you can attain all the knowledge in a book in one feeling, or a meaning of a number or symbol. Make it very simple. Remember, the word complication can be broken down into calm, which means pitchfork. Pitchfork is symbolic of the devil. It also can mean water, glass, the stomach or trunk, chest and breast. Like, as, how, with, right? Something that can be similar to something but not exact. Plicate, or P-L-I-C-A-T, means to roll up, to fold, to bend or flex, or what does that sound like? Surrender, to arrive, to weave in and out. That's the surrender. So we have the calm of the surrender, the calm of the pitchfork, and then the plicate of the surrender, and then we have the ION, which is a connection, or we can just be talking about complicate. Doesn't even have to be complication. So we have the pitchfork surrender connection, surrendering under duress. The watery surrender, or the glass surrender, the trunk, right? And that represents the elephant's trunk, which holds what? Water. The surrender to the devil, or sound. It's your choice, your perspective. Because remember, a pitchfork isn't just a fork of the devil, it's also a tuning device. They want you to have a negative association to the pitchfork. For forks assist us to eat and nourish us, and is a tuning instrument for sound and resonation. So there is that beautiful message that came up. So that's my message first, and Spirit's connecting with me. Thank you for that. And now we're going to get into the reads, which the union read here was really cool too. So stay tuned at least for the union read. We have the twin flame read as well. So yesterday when I did this read was at 4:29 p.m., the union read for the 4D, 5D, 6D for today, tax day, the 15th. Yesterday was the 14th. Here we had the angel and the devil. Also the Jewish holidays came up with the warriors yesterday who have been lost, and then today being Independence Day for Israel. So we have the angel and the devil and the contrast there, the polarities. And yesterday was the temperance along with the king of wands, and today is the devil with the queen of wands. All right, so the feminine's coming up as the dark, and the masculine is the light, the king of wands. And it was very sunny yesterday, and today it's pretty kind of just, blah outside, but I have my beautiful 3 pink trees across the street, which are actually beautiful. So this union read at 4:29, so here comes the 4 again of the Emperor and the 2. So I told you it was 1942 that we opened up to, and page 42 or 142, whatever it was, and here now we have 4:29, which is 4, 2, and then 9. So we open up with the 10 of Swords and the underlying energy here, and the 4 of Pentacles, or the Divine Masculine's heart in the Batcave in the middle of the read, and the end, the higher self. The worst is over of ending the pain, the Divine Masculine's heart in the Batcave with their higher self, which is the Divine Feminine. The incoming Divine Feminine here is the 5 of Pentacles, the 10 of Wands, and the Great Wheel, or the Wheel of Fortune. The Hermit in exile from the group below, wondering why she's up there out in the cold, when he's probably still working on coming out of the basement. So what's the point? but something is hidden for a reason. Again, there's the Emperor, behind the destiny, a placeholder, holding the stack so that you can find the needle and the eye of the needle, the eye of the storm at 0 point. Now you see me, now you don't. Again, Adam Ant coming up. Adam is at home. It's at home, but also at home with Ant. So we have Adam Ant and at home with Ant, whether that's the bug or your mom's sister. And the dragonfly, head to tail. You know how dragonflies mate, right? The one grabs the other by the neck, actually. I forget if it's tail to head or head to head, grabbing around the neck, but they look like a 4-inch stick, because I watched this for the first time when I was in the south of France. I saw this stick flying around, like, what the heck? It's 11:44 on the clock. And then I watched the stick, because first it was falling down, so I thought it was just maybe the wind blew the stick up in the air. And then all of a sudden, it flew up in the air again. I'm like, what? And you don't see the wings at all. It just looks like a stick. So then the stick fell on a plant, so I watched it, and I watched it fold over and become a heart, and that's how they mate. They mate in a heart shape. So this dragonfly, head to tail, 2 as 1, connected in a heart, bending over backwards to fit in. 5 offices were coming up here, and 10 of the great wheel, or 10 stories high. So again, there may be great feats here. And I was just getting, the Superman of able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. And then 5 offices regards expansion energies. So we have the 4D here, the bottom line of the 6 of Cups, the 7 of Swords, and the Abundance card. The Divine Feminine loving each other, of the 6 of Cups, the 2 children loving each other in the circle of trust. The Divine Masculine with abundance, or mother, with arms wide open, measuring their wingspan. How high can I fly? Bridging with passing downloads from the 5D Divine Masculine Indigo to the 4D bridge. It's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's some guy tossing eggs from a balloon. Or their basket. Because we just finished with Easter this month, right? Or 2 men watching or taking notice. And then WKRP in Cincinnati came up, which I haven't thought of in forever, with Johnny Fave, Lonnie Anderson, and The Impossible Dream. These are all the titles of the show that came up when I looked it up. Lonnie Anderson and The Impossible Dream, The Creation of Venus, Dear Liar, To Err is Human, Circumstantial Evidence, But I'll Take Romance. Changes, so Changes was a title, and then Pills, and J&J. Love, Exciting and New, Who's on First, Straight from the Heart, Rumor, and The Union. Okay, those were all the titles of the shows. And by the way, J&J came up, right, because of the issues coming up, but also my nephew and his wife are J&J. So Larry might text about my nephew's new baby girl today were from or about J&J. And so that's coming up again at 456, which is 456, which is the 4D. It's also the 4 of the Emperor and the 56 of the 2 of Swords being in your knowing. So here's that middle cycle of the 456. So at the 5D here, we have the Tower, the 4 of Pentacles, and the Indigo, the Divine Feminine Tower of Love and Epiphanies, the Flash of Light, across the sky, hands across the water, water heads across the sky. So that was coming up. As Spidey's shadow is seen exiting the building, leaving 4 fires behind. So here's the 4 again of the Emperor. The Divine Masculine Indigo with an offering prepared, a crystal perhaps, the little Magi in the white scrub top, or child proposing to mother on Mother's Day at 5 o'clock. And 5 o'clock is very significant, right? Because that's like when you punch out. The end of the day, the tax man. The tax man, oh, I'm the tax man. So that's coming up. The 5 of the Hierophant, right? The man, the patriarchy. In the negative patriarchy there. The bridge in the 5D is in the Divine Masculine's Batcave, his heart. So he can tell all about it, you know. Get your paper, hear all about it. His batting average. It's like the masculine in his bat cave, bridging in the 5D, so he can bring someone into his bat cave and tell all about his batting average and his collectibles and his crystals. In 6D is the Knight of Pentacles, the Reason, and the Four of Cups. The Divine Feminine with the Knight of Pentacles, offering crystal light from a faraway city, the City of Angels, perhaps. I didn't even notice that. I did this before I listened to Elisa. So with the Los Angeles thing that I told you about in the beginning of my video. This I did before that, so I didn't even notice the reference there. So the Divine Feminine with the Knight of Pentacles, offering crystal light from a faraway city, the City of Angels, perhaps Greek, or it's all Greek to me. And then I brought up the page, came up all about Greek and Constantinople, which was after this as well. So it's all Greek to me, next to Kos, which is short for Constantine, right? So there's an island called Kos, and my father's name was Constantine, and my mother called him Kos. So there was a sync there. The Divine Masculine on an island to themselves, as plotting out an island paradise, the 5D castle with the moat, or being just a hop, skip, and a jump across to a smaller isle, or the girl stranded with no room for error, focusing on Star of Bethlehem. I didn't see that. The room for error came up in the book too. This is all written before I looked at those books this morning. This was yesterday. So the girl stranded with no room for error, focusing on the Star of Bethlehem and Sirius. Bridging with the Emperor Reason, Santa Claus offering a hand to Divine Masculine's heart in the 5D Batcave, perhaps a robotic invention, planting seeds in his head for the logical man who, at night when all the world's asleep, the questions run so deep. For such a simple man, won't you please, please tell me what to know? I know it sounds absurd, so the masculine saying this, please tell me who I am. And then I was getting the energy of my father, Kos, coming up as the emperor here, passing inventions, because my father was an inventor, him passing ideas to my divine masculine here in the center. So the divine masculine may be getting messages from his father to give to his mother, or vice versa, also Father Klaus and Mother Dogs, or father toying with the divine masculine in the Batcave to get him to propose to his mom from him. Perhaps a remembrance for Mother's Day. And that may be the message here. Somebody might get a synchronicity regarding someone who they've lost recently. The divine feminine here is coming up as the inner and outer children loving each other with a sudden proposal. The divine masculine with abundance, or the Bun Dance by Indigo, proposing to Castaway. Perhaps a different ball next time. In the old ball game. On the bridge, passing a download to the Wizards and then to Dorothy, or Red Cross efforts, drops, or FedEx mail, may be more valuable than you ever imagined. A memorable keepsake here. And of course, they're referencing to Wilson, the volleyball. So the outgoing divine masculine, the 5 of Cups, the Chariot, and the Starseed, the 2 of Cups, stranded on a rock, neither allowed to leave until they work it out. Failure to launch. And then the Chariot arrives, whisking them off to a secret starseed location with lotus and northern lights, hail, orbs, and big bomb drops, hitting the crown, a fairy tale sperm with only one direction in mind, crowned 0. In a fresh new start with the higher self, knee deep in plasma ether at 527, which is the Hierophant and the Ace of Wands, that third energy. Pleasing Ma, you get the plasma, ether, pleasing Ma, and ashes, urgency, delivery, or urgently delivered. And then the mother's ashes being urgently delivered were coming up as a sync to me going out to take my mother's ashes out west. So at 5:27 came up the Hierophant and the Ace of Wands, hopscotch and tic-tac-toe, yo-yo and walking the dog, and the best place on earth, under the big top, the dreidel. The Divine Feminine was coming up with Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio, as well as the Knight of Pentacles on their side. The Divine Masculine on his side has Gemini, Virgo, Aries, Taurus, Cancer, and Pisces, along with Father Time and Mother Nature or Earth. And the central between them was the Emperor, the reason, the logic, the Aries. So the Aries, you might like that. So the Greek myth, the Gaia is the Mother Earth, the goddess Ishtar, which has multiple names. Ishtar is also Ashtoreth, Ashtoreth, Astarte, and Ayana. So, and that was coming up from myhourglasscollection.com. So Ishtar, then, worshipped by the Assyrians and the Babylonians as goddess of love, war, justice, and fertility. And then Atar is coming up as meaning morning star. So, and I know I just had brought up Mesopotamia the other day, and Babylonians come up right around there too, and Assyrians too. So it's all that area, the Middle East, has been coming up all week. The Chronos, Father Time, was coming up here. Saturn above the King of Cups' head, with Mother Earth, just as the Grim Reaper is to life as a young lady represents. So then they were guiding me to break down all of Ishtar's different names, right? So that we're talking about Mother Earth, the goddess Ishtar, Ashtoreth, Ashtoreth, Astarte, and Inanna, or Inanna. So it comes up as the ash ring or ash bull, and the ring is noted as a ring for a leash. But notice these two names really easy. Astarte is as a tart, and Inanna is in Anna, literally very sexual connotation there. So, and then breaking down the other names, we have Taurus is in there, and Tor. And Taurus literally says end of peduncle, which literally separates into ped and uncle, so like a pedophile uncle, or a flower stalk where the floral parts attach, the receptacle. So it's also described as a bulge or a knot, which was on one of those hats that I brought up the other day. Not the rice hat from the fields, but the other hat. I think, was that Tibetan? I can't remember. Or the Thai hat with the knot on top. That's making me think of that. The swelling of the protuberance. And this is all revolving around the Taurus. Also comes up around that is the marital bed, the Taurus. So there's a lot of sexual connotations coming up here. The elevation of the earth, the embankment regarding the Taurus, and also the two circles in a 4D space. And very much coming up 4D today with the 4, 5, 6. So ultimately, with breaking down all the words and the different names, we have the ash, which is tree, and the color is gray, or the residue, which is too savage, merciless, terrifying, and dangerous. The gray residue from the family tree that's too savage, too dangerous to talk about, dangerous liaisons. The bull residue, which is what? It literally translates to bull residue, which is BS, bullshit. Ishtar, I am that I am, shit tar. Ayana and as tart. So all those energies had very sexual or BS connotations. That Ashtor also comes up as remains are only tears to the nth degree. An anchor ring, being full, rich, difficult, and tedious, to dare, thunder, rage, to burn weakly, or the tower energy. The remains of the tower to the nth degree. So this is what Mother Earth is coming up as. The remains of the tower, right? The explosion moment. The Earth to the nth degree. So this union read came out with the number 51 at the end, which is the King of Swords. The horizontal pillars added to 14, 4, and 33, which is the Temperance card, or the angels, that higher love, the Emperor, and the Seven of Wands. And the vertical pillars came up as 15, 10, there's that 15 of the devil again, 10, 6, 11, 4, and 5, being the devil, the wheel, the lovers, justice, the Emperor, and the Hierophant. So the message being the patient angel and the Emperor stand up to the King of Swords. And we have Sagittarius and Aries over there. On this side, we have the devil destined, the lovers to justice, and grieving the loss and regret of the King of Swords here. We have Capricorn, Libra, Gemini, Libra, Aries, and Taurus on that side. So then we have the twin flame read in front of you now. The SIRIAN Starseed deck cut and dealt at 606. Okay, so we have this two lovers, two sets of lovers, or the 60 of finding peace and the lovers. And then at 614, which is the lovers and the Temperance card, or that higher love, literally the T came up, which has been coming up as the timeout, but it's also toggling up. But also the word on, like it's on, came up, coming up from moderation, to moderate and be on. We finished clarifying here at 627, the lovers and the Ace of Wands. Again, that third energy, the sexual energy, is very much coming up here. And it makes sense because it's springtime, right? It's an activation. So we have the Chariot as the only major arcana within the main body in the read, which brings up the riot, again, with the Chariot, because that Chariot's the warrior of war. We have before the read Luna, or the moon, and Reason, which is the Emperor, and after the read Starseed, or the Fool, and Karma, which is the Judgment card, or perhaps the Mother's card. We had 2 Pentacles, 3 Wands, 2 Cups, and 3 Swords. So here we have the numbers 2323, which is all about the King of Wands, which was yesterday's number, and today is the Queen of Wands. Okay, but this was done yesterday. So on the day of the King of Wands, the numbers came up 2323, which is the King of Wands, times 2. There could be 2 King of Wands associated here. We have the Knight of Cups, the King of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Page of Cups. We had triple ones in this read, along with double 3s, double 7s, double 8s, and double 10s, right? So there's a lot of synchronicity here, a lot of resonation, things matching up. And mostly the triple ones here. There's that new start, you know, a big oomph, a big push for that new start, that Ace of Wands, that new passion. And we have 1, 2, 3 jump here. We have 78 of the end of the Tarot, the 10 of Pentacles, the dream family, heaven on earth, and the 10 of that very high vibration, along with the 13 of the transformation, the transition, the death, the dark night, and 37 of the King of Cups, unconditional love, and 810, which is 0 behind 81, which is the end of karma around the world, backed up by Source. The code line here was all about moderation, and the number on the code line was 10, coming from 2 and 8. And of course, that's the High Priestess and the Strength card in the dance, but also the 28 being the twin flames, and the 10 in a turn for the better. The code line about moderation was coming up as these different interpretations. Adam and Eve definitely coming up here, or arts and entertainment, the ash energy, the A and the E combined together. Adam and Eve, arts and entertainment, or the ash, which we just talked about, which are the remains of the explosion, the tower. Adam and Eve's chakra system, 2 masters of alternating currents back and forth in the dance to the nth degree, being love, clearing fear and anxieties. And the E in charge, and Eve, Elohim, Eve, all of those change and freedom energies in charge of the up and down. The up and down, there are also definitions of oneness and insideness, as I talked about insight before, as opposed to 3D sight, insight. So here we have inside and one, as the E is in charge of the ups and downs, right? The meditation, up and down, in moderation. And then the moderation was coming up as different interpretations, right? Because moderation can be the MO of duration, or it can be the mode of the rat in connection. But mostly here was coming up as the mode moon on. So we also had a stroke or caress, something nice, a pinch or a shave or shove, to master of ACTH, which is adrenocorticotropic hormone. The King of Cups coming up here, good at emotions and being love, or the Knight of Cups offering the Queen or Sage prison or release. It's up to her to navigate the ups and downs of it. So then we have the moderation of mode, Ra, T, on. The mode of Ra, and T is source, on. So remember in the message in the beginning, when you're trying to decide whether you're believing something or not, make sure you have the right source, because it depends on your source. The mode of Ra, the source, being on. Are you connected? We have the Two of Pentacles upright here as the starting card in the underlying energy. And I always go 5 down and 5 out at the end of the read, because that makes it a 21 card read. I have the clarifiers on top. So going 5 cards down is the Ace of Pentacles reversed, the Eight of Pentacles reversed, the Moon upright, Luna, and Reason reversed, which is the Emperor, and the Ace of Wands upright. There's that Ace of Wands again. Great riches of withholding, overworking or not working, or something's not working out at night without a reason, without logic, with the Emperor reversed, which can confuse him, right? Because he's all about logic. Inspired to juggle or dance and perform, surrendering to the universe in a split, a lie, BS, depression or arrogance, and a need to heal, perhaps with Aquarius reverse lying, and the Ten of Pentacles family, business, or community complete with Pisces, which is also the end of the cycle, or the sealed divine feminine. Surrender to the Chariot, the warrior, the move, the travel, the ascension. Guilty of dumping a load, a burden, responsibility, or confessing to the energetic exchange, or hanging a shingle over depression or arrogance. Dumping responsibilities and shelving depression, or Aquarius reversed, to deal with a leak in the roof, or putting roots down, or plants. A place to heal, needing to dream, or the birdie fell out of the nest on their first try, right? Maybe working with their wings and they're not strong enough yet. Aquarius reverse lied here. Healing, forgiving, and withholding. The King of Pentacles reversed and the Knight of Swords reversed, leaving a mess, lying, verbally abusive, as the King of Pentacles is reversed and the Knight of Swords reversed, are needing to recover. Stay optimistic, and beneath that was unrequited love in the underlying energy. So that's the energy going away. Home having sex on the swing, or the man with 2 lovers, or perhaps 2 of great affection. Flirting or having casual sex with a show-off, perhaps. So over it. The Emperor reversed in ego death. She had been thinking of another when he proposed. Boobs and butt out and all. So this can reference an ex, or can reference, people's kids misbehaving as well. Yeah, that's very sexual though. Or getting over a loss with a one-night stand. Or this could be a masculine with multiple partners here. It could be 2, 3, or 4 partners, but he or she, or just the, and the one cheating might not be the masculine, it could be the partner who's cheating, or just the Emperor reversed here, thinking about their own past experiences or relationships, so not actually juggling, but thinking through their past relationships, or perhaps somebody else's past relationships. At 7:09 is the Chariot and the Hermit. The effort of the 13, the transition, and the happy ending of the 93, which is the reflection of the 39, which is the Knight of Cups. So being love or to not be love, right? To be or not to be love, that is the question, as Shakespeare, second time it came up. Suffering in silence with a third party without peace, trapped, imprisoned, or their hands tied here. So 7:10 is the Chariot and the Wheel of Fortune, the turn for the better, destiny, as in a bold move, doing something stupid, or a hit and run, fighting or playing with the Hierophant reversed, or playing around in a marriage, or an open marriage, or now divorced, and the Knight of Pentacles reversed is stubborn or unable to function, and the wounded warrior feeling dumped or without affection. The wounded warrior being on their last leg, with the ladybug there, and mushrooms, And the Knight of Pentacles reversed without bunny or without two ladybugs and no affection. Both the Wounded Warrior and the Knight of Pentacles reversed with their stingers out, perhaps in a breakup here. Cancer, upright, Aries, Taurus, and Gemini all reversed. A breakup or no physical affection in surrender to depression, holding their tongue, or an announcement or delivery, or lashing out with hurtful words to the Emperor reversed, making an effort at a happy ending, with hostage not sleeping, with no joy or no peace. The underlying energy before all of this is the King of Wands reversed with the Eight of Pentacles and the Emperor both upright. So this is like, it feels like the Emperor, you know, kind of being dictatorial with the King of Wands reversed. So normally think of the King of Wands as, you know, a bad man, right? With a really bad temper, an abuser, and he may be here, but he could also just be exhausted because he's being forced into slave labor by the Emperor here, because there's someone working into the night. And it can be vice versa. Maybe the King of Wands reversed is the bad guy, and the Emperor's one working into the night here. But somebody's, you know, pulling the strings in an abusive way. And this could be a child, you know, it could be a father, you know, forcing his son, right? Because fathers can use that connected manipulation to get their kids to do things for them, and vice versa, the child with their father. The King of Wands reversed, working late nights for or with the Emperor upright. And after this read comes up the workplace in the downturn, or the dissatisfaction and detoxing, rejection, or stuck with a baby crying, a vulnerable child, or perhaps a spoiled child. And actually the movie I watched last night was definitely about birthing child, which is so funny because we got the news that my nephew's daughter was born today. So there's definitely birthing energies going on. The movie I watched was about a child, you know, whose mother was a drug addict, and she was denied by her mom, and then she felt rejected by her dad, who had a lot of money, and then she ended up in a group home, which ended up being really good for her when she had her child. So a lot of those energies are coming up here. The workplace in the downturn, dissatisfied, detoxing, rejection, or a baby crying, or dealing with a vulnerable child or a spoiled child, which can be the same, right? Like a runaway who acts all tough and obnoxious, but it's actually because they're just afraid and they've never had someone actually love them or care for them before. And the unhappy family or emotional cycle that's so over, with death, endings, dark night of the soul, and transitions to prison, to being a prisoner or hostage, or seeing yourself that way, or facing your fears. The Ten of Swords reversed, where the worst is over and the bliss is setting in, receiving new passion from Leo, kids, and pets, or pacifying your own beast. The Knight of Wands rushing in, away from the Queen of Cups reversed, now that the worst is over at night, or with a cancer, or with cancer treatments, and the Wounded Warrior or surrender is at work, reaping rewards. The Six of Pentacles is upright here, sharing or settling out, being charitable perhaps, no longer bleeding out, exposed by lover at night, or perhaps dealing with lovers day and night, or lovers or affection between a Leo, ego, or kids, or pets perhaps, and Cancer, or someone's done their chemo or radiation treatments now. The foundation here is the King of Wands reversed, getting away with it, or spreading a virus or infection, or spreading lies, or taking a settlement and running with it. A distributor received loving compensation from retrograde motion, or one with Libra in their chart. The central energy here of the Three of Wands reversed, looking back or going back or living in the past, but looking back at a soulmate, or kids' pictures, you know, looking back at those happy memories, and an unhappy King of Wands reversed, with Cancer, or boldly moving on, or perhaps boldly going to move or travel, with a new passion perhaps. The challenge being the Knight of Cups reversed, the jealousy, the rejection, the post-war with the Emperor reversed, with a secret out. So remember, the Emperor was upright in that most underlying energy, and he was reversed in the rest of the read, so he may be the nasty one, and that may come out. With a secret out, or a need to use their intuition, knowing and not telling and spreading rumors, spying, lying, and negative self-talk, with the Queen of Wands reversed and the King of Swords reversed, standing side by side. That's not a good combination. One could be verbally abusive, the other one could be physically abusive. They could be always fighting or lying or abusing each other, powerless, dependent, or financial drains. And the Knight of Pentacles reverse, stuck. I was just getting duck, duck, goose. Stuck in disconnect or at a distance, unable to get along. No love in here from patient angel, receiving love from an ex perhaps, or offers from an ex. The Knight of Wands upright and Hermit reversed, or in disconnect with kids and being patient, receiving love from sparring with the Knight of Wands. Coming out with the Knight of Swords reversed, or the Queen of Wands and the King of Swords both reversed, may be parents or teachers or bad influences here. Or at 746, which is the Chariot and the Six of Cups, the children loving each other, or the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Swords. Knight of Wands is upright, Knight of Swords is reversed. But then we have the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Wands and the King of Swords. So that could be the parents of these two children, the Knights. So the Knights may be the children of the Queen of Wands and the King of Swords, both reversed, perhaps being bad influences on the Knight of Pentacles reversed and the Sovereign reversed, which can be another set of siblings or a couple. They could be young people at work as well. Or parents worried another's partner's kids will be bad influences on their children. Overworking, not working, and kids are soulmates or twins loving each other, while the Queen of Wands reversed and the Sovereign reversed are both present to each other perhaps, with the Queen of Wands reversed eyeing the other up and down or giving dirty looks, or these two are just sisters checking each other's outfits out or checking out their looks, or there may be some jealousy there or envy there. But they were both coming up reversed. Now here is the Seven of Wands upright rising above, the Empress reversed and the Hermit reversed, at home or in a nursing home. These could be two old people hanging out. The Ten of Pentacles reversed, that dysfunctional family, business, or community, or a community or family business with a loss, perhaps a loss of finances or a loss of a family member, or there's just general dysfunction in the way to use money. Could be gambling issues or whatever, just dysfunctional use of money for perhaps evil and bad things. Recovering post-war or post-virus and breaking up or no physical affection here. The Knight of Cups reversed and the Emperor reversed. The Knight of Cups can just be, a moody kid, But it also could be somebody who's rejected and jealous and insincere. It could be a schmoozer for sure, because it's up to everybody to get their way. And the Emperor reversed, of course, can be totally abusing their power, reversed, or they can be stepping down from power because they can't handle it anymore. Feeling rejected, jealous. I went to write moody and it looks like Woody. So maybe they're feeling woody or unloving. Rising above disconnect from a partner. And the Six of Cups, loving memories and past romantic tie, withholding from a drinker with attitude, or a Sagittarius female, not sure you can trust, coming out with guns blazing, holding back an announcement or call, not heeding the call to action, and needing to swallow their pride, in a divorce or with a narcissistic old man, needing care or who's fantasizing about a rich dream woman they can find, the Fool, free to roam, away from patients or parents, or a patient angel or Sagittarius, kids, exposure, pets, and hanging out with lover and just detoxing. Or Aries, Sag, and Leo, Capricorn, Pisces, Gemini, all upright. The only one reversed here is Capricorn at the end. And then my brother called to tell me he was going with us. So definitely siblings energy coming up here. And family. So soon, the Queen of Pentacles is upright here, post-war. And after post-war, or in post-war, is PTSD issues. People confused, because once the partying subsides after the war, people don't know which way to turn. They're still confused. They're still programmed in the mode of war. So after the war, after the virus, after the infection, after the overwork, or things not working out, the secret passion and the divorce, or the divorcee, or the Taurus reversed who's over it, or thinking and no longer confused, dumping emotional attachments, laying the past to rest, along with insecurities and walking away and within, knowing and keeping to yourself, suffering in silence or dealing with a sister and stressed. The twin flames seeing themselves as the Ace of Swords reversed, the lie, the split, the divide, the need for clarity and truth, standing up for oneself in a lot of back and forth with under the radar, and that was coming up about the mutable energies, a lot of back and forth. Under the radar rejection or feeling vulnerable or needy for attention, or a child is, and the Queen of Swords is upright, duking it out perhaps with the Queen of Pentacles, but they're both upright, or planning a play date or travel, coming together over unhappy family event, or it's like a happy event coming together over an unhappy event, or reservation issues, or lots of back and forth calls, or travel plans and a need to reschedule, or issues popping up. And that again comes up with the stuff from the beginning too, about you never know, plan for errors, plan for room for things to pop up. Or don't plan and trust. Stay at 0 point. So you have your travel plans or a need to reschedule or issues popping up, and then we have past life relationship, love yourself first, let go of control issues, soulmate, and this could be the one. Around the twins or how they're seen is the Page of Cups reversed. It could be a child feeling rejected, and this can be an adult as well, but it's in that childlike mode. So feeling rejected, being vulnerable or entitled, out in the cold, humbling self, in the death walk. It's like the walk of shame after sex. I'm getting that energy around this death walk. So out in the cold, humbling self in the death walk of the dark night of the soul to an opportunity or to get an invitation or go back to school. Dumping a load, a burden, a responsibility, injustice, letting go to fix or spend a little without option at 852, which is strength or the dance, and 52 of the Queen of Swords. And I just whistled a little bit. The block here for the twins is the 8 of Swords upright. The prison, the anxiety, the entrapment, or the concern about those kind of things, which is fear. The 5D connection, looking back at insecurities and manipulations. With moderation, but even more so here, adventure, so Advent comes up here, and financial discipline. The Devil reversed. Detoxing, castration by the Queen of Pentacles, no longer marking their territory. The Chariot upright, right? Taking the air out of the balloon, the Devil no longer having their power. The Chariot upright, the fantasy of ascension, needing to align with the 6 of Cups or sisters. Oh, that's so funny because the mountains all be going to our sisters. And the Queen of Wands reversed and the Sovereign reversed and the Queen of Pentacles upright. She may have Capricorn in her chart, or the Queen of Pentacles may be the mother with her son and daughter, and dependence with the Queen of Wands reversed, with the 6 of Cups kids who may be younger or not working and maybe traveling together or training together. And the King of Wands reversed wants to go too, but can't, or staying with the younger kids, so the Queen of Wands reversed can travel. The Queen of Wands reversed and the King of Swords reversed, fighting, not getting along. The King of Wands reversed could be the Queen of Wands reversed brother. Unsure of what's going on regarding a trip or a move, on the road, or inspired by the King of Cups to move, travel, or ascend. The fantasy family, business, or community, not working with the 6 of Cups, soulmates, kids, or twins. And the Queen of Wands reversed and the Sovereign reversed, which can just be her dependent, and the Queen of Pentacles upright with the Devil reversed, or detoxing here. Or the Queen of Pentacles has Capricorn and Cancer in her chart, or the Queen of Pentacles, Capricorn, and the King of Cups is a Cancer. A secret passion inspired, or Pisces excited, talking to the King of Cups about a trip or a move. The Fool free to open their crown and receive downloads. Fun in the sun, or with kids hanging out with lover, or Gemini, and the Capricorn reversed, or detoxing. Dumping emotional attachments, coming back downstairs. With the 10 of Cups reversed, unhappy family, or ending an emotional cycle that's so overdone. Holding back an announcement or judgment while healing and forgiving, and walking away and going within from all they've built and put emotions into. So the surrender to the universe, with the King of Wands reversed, and a split, a lie, dealing with BS, a need for clarity, With the Page of Cups reversed, rejection or spoiled child, where the worst is over of the past, and the challenge being the Knight of Cups reversed. Again, rejection and jealousy of the Queen of Pentacles, with anxiety or feeling imprisoned or in prison, rising above to boldly go and ascend and leap tall buildings in a single bound, coming back down to end the cycle and swallow their pride, to heal and forgive, and then walk away. Surrendering to bliss without physical connection. The King of Wands reversed, looking back and rising above. Rejection, jealousy, insincerity, moodiness. The refusal to love and be loved. Lying, split, divide, and BS, with the Queen of Pentacles moving and the Page of Cups reversed, anxiety issues about moving, traveling, or ascension. So this could be a child who's afraid to do certain things. And freedom of Cancer and Aries upright, downstairs. The Ten of Cups reversed, unfulfilled or spoke too soon, and healing and forgiving and walking away for good at 9:13, which is the Hermit and Death, which are both ending cards, and it's 12:24 on the clock. 24 is Omega. That's the end too, and so is 12. 12:24 at 9:13, and this clock is 1:05. It was just 50 then. 1:05, 50, and 51, which is the King of Swords and Queen of Swords coming up there too, with the Magician and the Five of the Hierophant, the commitment. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull some oracle cards for you guys. I don't want to make this too long since we had an extra long read here. So 12 and 24, and plus the 24 is today's date. You know, the Queen of Wands is coming up in the edition of the date today. Along with the Devil of the 15. So it feels like the Queen of Wands in this read, she's reversed, that she's probably not being very nice here. She could just be sick or tired, exhausted. But since today's the Devil energy, she may be pissy. It could be someone who just gave birth too, right? It's a tiring thing to do. Okay, so from the energy deck, for everybody watching and the best and highest good of all those concerned, what do we need to know and learn? What's our takeaway from this? The Angel of Love. And that's very much the Page of Cups energy. So the Page of Cups was reversed here. But that could just be a newborn baby crying their ass off. Okay? It's all in your perspective. Remember that. Remember what the source is. The 49 is the Nine of Cups. Getting your wish. Being happy with yourself. Right? Finding self-satisfaction. And she's enjoying just being in her heart. The Angel of Love. These two are coming up right behind that. Right? There's the Tower coming in to create Mother Earth. And here's that caring connection. And the Temperance card was upright in this read. Right? That higher love that allows room for error. And then comes the Sun, the Cornucopia 11, which is justice, truth, and balance. Really beautiful. The bottom of the deck is the woman holding a coin, the 42. So she could come up as the Empress here, but she could also represent the Queen of Pentacles. However, the 42 is the Two of Cups, which is reversed in this read. So she's coming up as a reversed energy, not the positive energy. So she could be like the sovereign, dependent. Or this could be, I'm trying to remember if the Empress was upright or reversed. Where are you, Empress? Yeah, she's reversed. So this could definitely be the Empress in this read. So this could be like a dark mother type of energy, or someone's not doing well. Somebody who's sick or injured. Or again, it could be postpartum, right? They just had a baby, the Empress reversed. So that could definitely be the energy of that. But it also could be a dark mother type of energy. It depends on your situation. So mother, grandmother, aunt, boss, whoever's in lack right now. But that's going away. And this is coming up, which is this beautiful relationship. This also could be a couple who just had a baby. And the storm passing in order to clear the air. and bring thanksgiving and justice for all. Really beautiful. All right, let's see the journey of love. The journey of love from our message today. What is the message for today? Hold space for the love. Hold space for the needle and the eye and the needle. The eye of the storm and the needle in the haystack, which is referencing 0 point. Leave room for that. Hold space. And journey of love. Journey of love. 30, which is the union energy, towering magnificence. And the 47 of the 7 of Cups, which is synchronicities in heaven in your eyes and being soft like the pearl. There's one or two more cards that want to come up. And the bottom of the deck is the becoming. The 34 is the 8 of Wands, the back and forth that came up a lot. And this is very beautiful, but it's also 2D. You know, it's that beautiful piece of art you want to hang on the wall. It's gorgeous. And remember that some people are still becoming. So there's a lot of exchange back and forth of people learning. So it's right, with the baby coming up. It's remembering that, you know, you have to crawl before you walk, etc. So be patient with others and yourself in becoming, right? One step at a time. It naturally unfolds. The unfolding is the surrender. And then these two cards came up as well. So first we had, again, the union of towering magnificence and the soft of the heaven in their eyes and the synchronicities. And then we have the Christ flame coming up, the 31, which is much more harsh. The 5 of Wands, the fighting, the battle, the expansion, the games, the players, right? Where all the world's a stage, reminding you of that. And he's bowing in his performance, saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, my audience. And then the burning hero, the 3 of Gaia, Mother Earth, the tower, right? From the earth exploding, made the earth. The sun and the mother, the earth, the father and the earth. The burning hero is coming up as the feminine energy here. The Mary Magdalene and the mother saving the Christ. And you notice there's 3s in both. And the 31 and the 3, 313. Very beautiful. It's really coming up as, you know, this is representing the feminine of the union and the synchronicities, and then the harsh energy of the masculine dealing with the 3D level things, right? The burning hero, and yesterday was the Jewish holiday for the warrior, and the independence of Israel today. All right, the harshness of it, taking a bow. And then the feminine comes in and she takes her bow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All the world's a stage. And so where are the exits and the entrances coming up here? I'm going to read to you 30, Towering Magnificence. And you notice Towering Magnificence and the Christ Flame, the feminine and then the masculine, are back to back in the book, right? 30 and 31. So Towering Magnificence says you're entering the presence of the truly great and sublime divinity. It is without form, yet exists with all forms. It is humbling and yet asks nothing of you. It just is, and when we encounter it, we are moved beyond words, beyond mind, and into realms of the heart that we may never have experienced before. It takes a brave soul to meet the towering majesty of divine presence. It can be a terrifying experience as limitations and preconceived notions and identities crumble in the wake of its light. You're being brought to this place out of love because you are ready. Your soul has been craving connection to something so much larger than itself, to find something worthy to which it can devote itself entirely. This greatness is becoming available to you now to be witnessed to the extent that is helpful, so that you may find the greater purpose of service which your heart craves. You are ready. This oracle brings you comfort that your inner path, your opening up to direct experience of the divine presence, is happening now, according to divine timing and grace. This is also confirmation that you're connecting with your spiritual guidance more consciously now, and that any sense of self that appears to be falling away from you now is because your divinity has outgrown it and a new awareness is taking its place. Mighty sentinels connecting heaven and earth. Wisdom of the ancients waiting for those who listen in the quiet, or in other words, without words. Okay, and then I want to read the Christ flame too, since that's right after. It represents the 2 cards of the masculine. Within you burns the flame of the Christ. Beyond religion, this flame belongs to all hearts willing to receive the divine, opening to it as a lover would open the heart to receive the beloved. And again, for those of you who don't resonate with those terms, we're talking about source energy, prime creator, love, however you want to term it, it's all the same. Though the awakening of the Christ within brings greater closeness to the divine and therefore greater love and depth of compassion, it too can bring sadness and righteous anger and a passionate need to contribute positive healing action and change in the world. You may be an introspective soul who does this through mastering their inner world with meditation and yoga, raising your own vibration with absolute intent that this bring healing to the world around you. You may be an extroverted soul that thrives in sharing messages and living a life of dynamic action in support of the causes that are worthy and moving to your brave heart, capable of feeling divine outrage and responding with inspired action. You may be a combination of these soul types and choosing wisely what you consume, which companies you support, and what television you do or don't watch, and what you read, voting for the life you want to have around you in the world through your actions, internal and external. This is the Christ flame igniting within you, setting the world aflame with the fire of divine love. This oracle brings guidance that you're connecting with the universal Christ consciousness, and your heart is meant to awaken as a sacred heart, bearing the Christ flame of divine love this lifetime. You're a part of the wave of awakening happening on earth now. You are exactly where you're meant to be and doing exactly what you're meant to be doing, so just keep going. And the poem reads, love is more than words can define. It is a feeling which wells up inside and longs for release. It is a smile which starts in my heart and spreads across my face like a silly grin. And it's a knowing so deep in my being that every cell speaks in a language only lovers know. And most of all, it's the beginning, the birth, the possibility, the promise of a tomorrow, and the hope that grows into something we can only imagine when hearts combine and love becomes more. Drink your water, get your rest, get your joy, get your nature, or do nothing at all. It's all up to you. Rise and be love. I love you guys. Have an amazing day. See you soon.